I will review the DP Biology IA draft for student K, anonymised from my class, who is investigating the speed of river water and how it affects the number and size of common mayflies. When I look at this, to start with, I think you need to add some whys. Telling us what happened can get you up to a 4. But why did you do this? To avoid bias, some other reason? Tell us why. Coming down to the next paragraph, they were chosen because they were separated into these groups because. Make sure you're giving us the reasoning to get into that top mark band. You're telling me some stuff here. We need sources. Now, speed of the river. Well, can you group things, separate? Tell us what speeds they were. Was it per quadrat, per kick sample, per water speed? What was the river? A river. Does this sound like a specific investigation? Which river? When? Again, good info, but what about your source? I do like that you've got your links under your images. It's a good start. Coming into the next page, good stuff again. Is there a source? Flattened mayflies, blah, 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 blah. Is there a source? And now my next big question for you is just, but why? What is this all about? If you're trying to start something on the next page, A, it didn't work, and B, just click at the front of it after getting rid of all this nonsense and click Control-Enter or Command-Enter on a Mac. So this would be then Table 1. I like to see that. Okay, I get that slightly wider than my print box, but this is looking pretty good. Coming into your ethical considerations, again, I'm not sure why there's a big gap there, but so be it. Back into the river, love that. Probably in the same place, cool. Into your method. The one thing missing right now is an equipment list. What stuff did you use? I don't see evidence of that anywhere. Now, I know what you did, but when I read this, it's not quite clear. I thought you chose 2 to 4. How many did you choose? This is your experiment. Probably larger areas. These aren't your sampling areas because you then randomized within them. Did you use 0? I thought you used 0.0 and 2.0, so you got down to the nearest 10 centimeters. Figure that out, put it in however you used it, and explain why if you need to. If the site was ignored, then what? You had one less, or did you choose more coordinates for an additional site? I think that needs a wee bit of explaining here. Set a box in a bucket. Brilliant. Probably where? On the riverbank, in the middle of the river. Make it clear. Move your feet side to side to the beat of what song? A little bit of controlled variables if you can here. That's not going to be totally controlled, but it'll give it some sort of consistency. Okay, coming up to 12. I think, wash the net so it's clean, and remove any clinging mayflies so they can be counted. Looking at 14. Didn't you also note down? Yeah, okay, each species. I was going to say note down the type, but are these species you're looking at, or did you break them into 3 types, each with more than one species? Just check that out. And photograph them. Didn't you take them either with a ruler or with an item of known size so you could do maths later to figure out how large they actually were? What happened if you were out of depth? Extra sites. I don't see anything about that here. Something's too deep. Couldn't get to it. What did you do? Now, do you need to go and tell us about now in the second large area and do it all again? Yes, add link. Bad form, you typed like me, to not have a link there when you hand it in. Now, here we go. This is very hard to read. There's no page limit, so you can make these larger and have them above and below each other. What does this show? Is there a sentence somewhere saying this shows this? This is pasted in from somewhere. You have not cited it. My suggestion is 1, move it to appendix, 2, cite it, and 3, put this here in your own words, probably under the graph so it can be larger. This can't be graph 2 if that's graph 2. Now look at your numbering, easily fixed. You might even want to go back to this and say, I'm going to renumber everything quite differently. This is your call, but to make sure, you could have 2 ABCD, 3 ABC, so that we've got a bit of consistency with what we see. Again, though, these need to be larger to be read. Put them above each other, spread it out. Pages are not such a problem. If I looked at this, I'd say move all of these to appendix, put it in your own words. And again, you could have the graphs out to here. A few words down the side to say what's said. That way it's easier to read. You're still saving a little bit of space. Now, did you forget the trend line? Oh, let's pretend that was a trend line. It wasn't supposed to be. If you did, that's a bad sign. If you chose not to draw one because there's no pattern, then make sure you have no trend line drawn because statistics said no clear pattern. Wonderful. People read it and they go, the student didn't forget. They knew what they were doing. What are we talking about here? Name it. What test did you do? Okay, we've got the result, but we don't know what the test was. Righty-ho, blah, 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 blah. No. Start off. There was no trend seen between. Fix that. Do we need that? I think, you're almost arguing against yourself. If there was no pattern, you can't talk about anomalies and other things. The second part of the conclusion, coming back here, is strand 2, 50% of the mark. First strand, you're telling me the pattern, telling me the statistics that back it up, talking about the overlap of error bars, samples, why you trust your results or you don't. The second strand, strand 2, is where you compare to proper scientific literature, the distribution of these species, the preferences, other similar studies. Without that, you've halved your mark for your conclusion. Evaluation. I like to see most of this, weakness, description, relative impact. Where is the improvement? There isn't one. Again, you're locking yourself down to 50% of the mark. So I would suggest make all of this narrower. You need one more column. That actually talks about a solution, a fix, how you're going to make it work. And so you need to make sure you've got that so you're addressing the second strand of the criteria, or 50% of the marks. The last thing you need for the first strand to get to the very top, 5 to 6, is some sort of way of telling us the relative importance of the things that you have listed here. Now, whether you have in the title, Table 3, we arranged from most to least significant, or you have sentences down here, this one and this one were really significant and affected the results. These other ones need to be tidied up to make the results clearer, but shouldn't affect the overall result. You need some sort of statement of this to get to the top area in the first of your strands for this criteria. What about the fact that you didn't have any really fast water? Is that not something significant as well when I look at this? I think it might be. These look reasonably good till I realise wherever you come from, you have a strange alphabet. T, P, S, B, G, F. These should be in alphabetical order. I do like it, though, to see you've got your access dates that show us when this was done.